Hello out there at YouTube land. I'm filming a web video to thank John Kohler and Growing Your Greens for all the work and inspiration that he's given me. So I'm going to take you around my garden after about a week and a half after my first planting and show you kind of what I've done. In the first bed, the raised bed that I built, kind of tried to imitate what John's done a little bit. I didn't do the irrigation system that he had set up because I watched the videos too late, so instead I've got these soaker hoses in place. But as you can see, this bed is mostly clear. On the far side of the bed, I'd planted stuff 2 weeks ago and none of it came up except for one tiny little guy, and I'll get you in there so that you can see. There's one spot of green right there, and that should be a radish, but everything else did not come up. I think I probably planted it too deep, so instead I've now, because I only did half the bed originally, I then planted the second half of the bed here. And hopefully in a couple of weeks things will start to come up in this bed. I didn't plant so deeply. And then you see this is a 45-gallon pot filled with potting soil and organic garden soil and organic potting soil. And I've got the drip line set up in here, the soaker hoses set up in here, and I planted a bunch of lettuce and lettuce mixes in here. Now I'll take you into the garden. Here, oh, I'm about to fall. You can see this tiny little bed with the posts is going to be a pea bed for now, and then once it gets warmer in my season, I'm actually going to use it for pole beans. But you can see here the tiny rows of peas that are coming up all throughout here. And that's what's growing on there. Then in this bed that looks fallow, there's actually a bunch of strawberry sets started in there and a weed growing in the corner that I need to get out. And also I've got a tiny little bit of lettuce started as well right there. And so, funny story about the lettuce, I'd actually started planting them in containers, and then, oh, and there's another one growing. I'd started planting them in containers, and then they got knocked over and scattered by the wind, and so I took what was remaining inside the containers and just dropped them into this bed after I'd already planted the strawberry sets. And so a few of them are just kind of growing on their own. And then in this bed, this is the one I'm probably most proud of in terms of things actually coming up. It's kind of organized. This first row here are carrots, and I'm actually starting to, after about 2 weeks, starting to get some carrots coming up here in the garden. And then I have 3 rows of kohlrabi, which I've never grown before, but it's actually doing really well in my soil. It's going to actually have to be thinned out because it was put in there. I just sowed it haphazardly, and so they're probably too close together. And then lastly, you can see are some onions, and I tried them at various depths because last year I didn't have a whole lot of success with them. So some I've got really deep, whereas others, you can see that one's about halfway out of the ground, are more shallow because I wasn't sure if you were supposed to plant them. That one's almost 3/4 the way out of the ground, but I wasn't sure if I should have planted them deeper like the package says, about 1 inch depth, or I've seen other YouTube videos where they're only planted at about 3/4 depth in order to help them grow. Well, that's my garden. And oh, and then in these little pots here, I actually have some spinach growing that I planted 3 days ago as well, and hopefully that will come up. That's what's growing on in my garden.